Hello, my name is Junius Williams, and I'm your host on Everything's Political Podcast. And this is Series 6, The Power of Music. Now, you all know that we discover where the power is, looking at all kinds of things you didn't think about, looking at things 5 seasons now. So this is the 6th one, The Power of Music. And if you saw the first one, the first episode, which featured yours truly talking about my particular growing up with music in Richmond, Virginia, and where it took me, I'm going to continue with that in episode 2. Because I've got a good friend here. When I first knew him, his name was Cordell Hill. Now he's in Ngoma Hill. We're going to talk about how you became Ngoma from Cordell. But Ngoma's from Richmond. And the other thing that we have in common is that my father was his first music teacher, I believe. Wasn't your first?
No, wasn't the first.
But he was one of your music teachers.
He was the second.
He was the second. Who was the first?
John Bland. Not John Bland. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right this second. But if you give me a minute, I'll look. I got it on you.
That's all right. That's all right. I can fill in a little bit on that because, see, on Saturday mornings when my brother John and I were trying to sleep on Saturday, here comes this dude, and I listened coming from downstairs at 2713 Barton Avenue. Cordell is here. How you doing, my man?
Not too shabby.
All right. It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Do you remember those days?
Indeed. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, because I used to live right up the street from you. That's the other thing, you know. I only lived about 4 or 5 blocks from you.
That's right.
So my dad used to walk me up there, and I was, you know, da 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 da, and that's how I started. That's how I started.
Yeah.
By the time I got to 6th grade, when most people start taking music lessons, I had already been playing instruments since I was 7. So by the time I got in elementary school, I ended up playing flute, and the flute had a key missing. So they took the flute from me and gave me a cello. So then I ended up playing cello, and by the end of the year, I was playing in the all-state orchestra, playing cello. I was like, well, this is very interesting. Then I went to high school. When I got to high school, the high school didn't have an orchestra, so I couldn't play violin. So Kennedy had me. That was Joe Kennedy taught me then, and I ended up playing baritone horn in the marching band and in the concert band.
You know you mentioned Joe Kennedy and the orchestra, the missing orchestra. My father got a kick out of that because, Armstrong Walker was, we were rivals.
Right.
And he used to always rub it in with Joe Kennedy that Armstrong had an orchestra.
Right.
And Walker didn't.
Okay.
He let him know that.
Yeah. In fact, I substituted for your father when he was very ill. I substituted for him for a whole semester.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I taught the band, the orchestra, and the choir. And we did a spring concert in the spring that year. Wow. Yep.
I had no idea. That must have been after you finished college and all of that.
Yeah, we're talking 67, 68, around that time.
I had no idea. See, I'm learning something already. Yeah, he did get sick. I didn't know that that his student had come. Well, you know, a lot of people came through my father. Paul Freeman,
okay,
the great orchestral director. Lonnie Liston Smith.
Okay.
Lonnie Liston Smith played tuba in the Armstrong High School band. My father taught elementary school, and then after that was in the morning, and then he came on over to Armstrong in the afternoon. He might have done middle school too, but he could tell the size of his orchestra in the years to come just by the number of kids that he had in the elementary school band.
Okay.
He could make that forecast.
That's very interesting to see that he could figure out how long, because, kids stop playing. You play for a semester, like, I ain't doing that no more.
Well, he counted the ones he knew were going to keep playing.
Going to keep playing.
Because he had that feel for what was happening. That's what music was to him. And not only the quantity, but the quality of the band and the orchestra.
Yeah.
And we're going to show another picture of the Armstrong High School band and orchestra right now. But that's what kept him going. Mm-hmm. And that's what kept music going within him and within me. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I hear that. Mm-hmm. That's great.
So what was the impact of learning to play the violin and all the other instruments that you played? What we talk about some of the things. We talk about inspirational hope and resilience, shaping your identity, offering joy and relief. Pick one of those three. What do you want to talk about? What can you talk about?
Let's see how this works. The first time I heard anybody play a violin was a sister by the name of Pamela Woods, who went to Maggie Walker. And she played a violin solo in my church. And I heard her play. I was only like 6 at that time. I told my parents, I said, I want to learn how to play that. So they said, okay, cool. So first of all, they had to find a violin small enough. And then they found me a teacher, and that took about a year. So I started playing violin like when I was like about 7. I played violin, played cello, played flute in elementary school, in junior high school. In elementary school, I just played violin. I was taking private lessons, so I wasn't playing at school, because you didn't start playing instruments till the 6th grade, and you had to play the little tonette thing. So, I did that. That was cool. But high school, although I was playing violin and playing classical music, that's not really what I wanted to play, But I didn't know nobody that was doing anything different. In fact, even though Joe Kennedy played jazz violin, he wouldn't teach me to play jazz violin.
That's interesting.
He said, you got to, get all the basics and stuff, and we never discussed it past that. So a lot of the instruments and stuff that I played, I taught myself to play. And the joy of it was the fact that I could play different instruments. Because a lot of people say, well, you just play that. Why you just play that one instrument? I'm like, why? Who says I got to just play one instrument? Where's the rules? That's all I could do.
That's right.
So by the time I had reached my senior year in high school, I started teaching myself how to play guitar. Then I went to Virginia State College. Then it was Virginia State University there, where I majored in instrumental music education. And I had finally got big enough to play an upright bass, because I was a little kid. So I ended up playing upright bass in the jazz band, in the dance band. That's when I realized, oh, this is a whole nother bop. So I was really, 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 really excited and happy about that. And also teaching myself to play guitar was relatively rewarding also. But
that's interesting, because I had the same experience with the choice of music, even that my father introduced us to. We were all, and Joe Kennedy must have believed that too, we believed at that time that you had to have European music to show just how good you are. Mm-hmm. Jazz was something that you looked over. Then my brother Cameron, who was in the Army, introduced me to jazz. My sister introduced me to Latin dance.
Okay.
And of course we were listening to James Brown on the radio, as well as a whole plethora of other folks. Right. So that's where that came in. But in school, you were supposed to play European music.
Classical music.
What's up with that?
I give up. I can't figure it out.
Because it's difficult, but there's nothing more difficult than jazz.
Right. And I hear people say, now that I can improvise, I've talked to musicians that can't improvise.
That's right.
And I'm like, why the hell not?
Tell people what improvisation is.
Improvisation is for you to play music that's not charted and to be able to have solos within the context of what you're doing. And it's improvised because you're not reading it. And most of the time, what you improvising hasn't been played before. So you might not ever play it again unless you recorded it and went back and listened to it so you could learn it after you have done it. So I guess that's the quick.
Yeah, and a lot of people had their recording machines sitting next to you and recording that improvisation, and they made brand new songs out of it. And it was still your work. It was your original piece because you improvised. You listened to the way the chords were structured, and as long as you stayed within the confines of that structure, it sounded good. Until people came along and said, we don't even have to stay within that confine. We can play out.
Play out.
We talk the same language. You can play out and you can play in. I like to play in. You like to play in, from what I've heard you do.
Well, I like to do both.
Oh, you do both?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get that far. My ear didn't take me that far. Or maybe my ear did, but my preference, I like to hear the melody somewhere.
Okay.
I still like to hear that melody.
Well, we could have a melody and still go out. You play the melody and then you go out and
you
come back to the melody.
And come back in. Yes. But we getting too esoteric now. Let's go back to the script. Because I want to know, how did that music, you went to Virginia State. I took some lessons from Professor Gatlin over there.
Pops.
When I was playing my clarinet.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about that in the first episode that we had, and he was amazing on that clarinet.
Yeah, he was.
And we would sit there. So we have to do what we had to do to please him, but it was all according to that classe book that he had. But after you finished college and you knew you were a musician.
Yeah.
How did the music affect you otherwise?
That's a good question. How did it affect me? It let me know that I could play, that I could do other stuff, and that I could create. Because a lot of people learn to play instruments, but they're not creative. They're not creating anything. So it was good that I could find out that I could actually create other stuff that hadn't been written yet or whatnot. And what made it even more interesting was that I could play other instruments. So when I had a tape recorder and I could layer music and stuff, I could do the whole album. I have about 5 or 6 albums where I did all of the instruments. Okay, and that's what it did. But it was just the thrill is in playing and hearing and seeing the audience's response to what you're doing. If you're playing and you ain't moving nobody, then you need to go back to the woodshed.
You ain't even getting a nod of the head or pat the foot or do something. And even
something's wrong here.
Dodgy church, you're going to get somebody going to pat their foot.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that made it interesting to me was the fact that I was able to play so many different genres of music. I wasn't stuck in that. You got to play this or you got to play that. I kind of like, nah, I'm playing this. I'm playing me today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
well, let's hear something.
Let's hear something.
You got a 3-string.
Then this is a 3-string cigar box guitar. When Africans were brought here on ships, they couldn't bring their instruments with them. So they made the instruments out of whatever they could make them. And one of the instruments that they used was a 3-string guitar. Now this one's got a pickup on it and goes through the amplifier and stuff, but obviously when slaves came over here and played them, they didn't have that. But anyway, this is a 3-string cigar box guitar. I didn't come on the Mayflower, came on the good ship Jesus. I'm a star to Tilda, Henrietta Marie, chain bound and shackled from Gory till Amina Castle, copper and Manila, sugar and tobacco. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. Sing my blues, sing my blues. Stopped on Ebo Landing, try to walk on water. I'm a runaway, I'm a renegade, I'm a son of a dusty daughter. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues to sing my blues, to sing my blues.
You could play a whole concert in here for us, but I want to talk to you some more.
Sure.
That was great. That was great. A cigar box, 3-string guitar. You gave us a little history on that too. But were you playing the percussion that you recorded? Were all of the background, was all the background music you too?
No, it was garage band.
I hear that. So one aspect about your life that I know is infused with music is when you were a part of a duet called Serious Business.
Serious Business.
Yes, that's when I first caught up with you after your Richmond experience. So tell us about Serious Business. And that was movement music. That was civil rights music you were doing there.
Absolutely.
So talk about music and the civil rights movement.
My ex-wife and I was married to a woman by the name of Jaribu Hill. She's a judge in Mississippi now.
Is that right?
Yeah. I think unless she retired, because we broke up like 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a Rambler, a 55, I think it's like about a 55 or 56 Rambler with no radio. So we used to sing. As we driving around, we sing, and we realized we could harmonize. And we said, oh, that's good. I can harmonize. So we used to sing, just ourselves. Amina Baraka was working on some, she was dealing with asbestos, trying to get asbestos out of the schools. And she had this program, and we decided to try to write some music. So we wrote this song called Asbestos Blues. And
Amina Baraka is the mother of the current mayor of Newark, Raz Baraka, who was also the wife of the poet Emir Baraka. So go ahead, pick up your story from there.
We wrote this song called Asbestos Blues, and we were just going around singing Asbestos Blues. We're talking like 78, 79, and the movement was moving. So we started writing music for the movement in particular. And that was the beginning of it, because I had been a part of this civil rights movement and going to protests and stuff. So I knew all of the civil rights, We Shall Overcome, and all of the the civil rights kind of music that we were doing. But we decided most of the music you would hear, it was white people that was doing it. And we were saying, like, where's our music? Where's our musical struggle? You know? And so we wrote, if you want to know about our music, if you want to know about our songs, if you're ever wondering why we sing about struggle all day long, our music is for people who never get enough to eat. Our music is for people who find it hard to make ends meet. If you've ever been down and out, then you'll know just what we're singing about. We are serious business. And that's how we started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started getting gigs. The unions would hire us to do songs. So we started writing songs out about whatever particular union struggle was going on. So what that helped us to do was we were able to play in places that we would probably never have gotten to play in. For example, we did 2 or 3 gigs for unions that were in Madison Square Garden. So I got to play in Madison Square Garden like about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I hear you.
We also played for the largest anti-nuclear rally in the United States in 1982 in Central Park for 1 million people. Now, how many people just could do that? So like, yeah, so yeah. So Fred Kirkpatrick and Matt Jones heard us. And they liked what we were doing. So, not Alan Lomax. Well, I can't think of, they introduced us to my man from Folkways Records.
Okay.
So he said, yeah, okay. You want to put out an album? Put out an album. So, we went in the studio, we paid for it and whatnot. He gave us a little change and he put out the album. So that was our first 2 albums. Right, that was musical struggle. But there was a lot of musical struggle was going on, all right? But we weren't doing it, except for, well, actually, that's not quite true. There were people like Sweet Honey in the Rock with Bernice, so we got a lot for them.
Then you mentioned Matt Jones.
He got to hang out with Matt Jones, with Fred, Kirkpatrick, with Pete Seeger and Odetta, So we ended up being in that league, and we ended up playing at the Clearwater Festival Revival up on the Hudson.
What happened to that music? With all of this collectively, what happened to that? Why don't we hear that now?
We don't hear that. That's a good question. Well, we evolved to hip-hop, which was good because hip-hop was political when it first started out. And then those that were in control of stuff started offering people record deals to talk about garbage. So now we get garbage. That's what happened to it. Simple as that.
No, I can't put it any more succinctly than that. If that's your opinion, I hear you.
Well, we don't talk about hip hop now. If you talk about hip hop when it was back to Dead Prez and Public Enemy and all those groups, they were really doing political music. But then the record moguls decided to record garbage, and what it did was feed the prison industrial complex.
What's your definition of garbage?
Garbage is garbage.
All right.
Nonsense and foolishness and derogatory stuff that, we don't really need to be listening to and feeding our minds. Garbage. That's a quick definition. I can't think of a better one, really.
So, Matt Jones was also a part of the Snake Freedom Singers.
Right. He and Fred Kirkpatrick, too.
Okay.
In fact, Fred Kirkpatrick headed the Deacons of Defense.
Right.
He was one of the originators of the Deacons of Defense.
All right. Deacons for Defense and Justice. I think out of Louisiana, I think.
Yeah.
Alabama or somewhere like that.
Louisiana, I think.
Okay. I didn't know he was singing with the Snake Freedom Singers. I'm gonna try to get some of them.
He didn't sing with he and Kirkpatrick and Fred
Matt Jones
and Matt Jones. They used to perform together.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Now, so that's a good example of music that inspired the movement or a movement for something that was positive, anti-Vietnam War, anti-nuclear war and stuff like that. How should schools or communities better support positive music?
One thing they can do is support artists that are doing positive music. Bring them into the schools. That's it, primarily. If you know groups that are doing positive music instead of bringing in garbage, bring them in and have the artists also talk to the students, because a lot of times people don't know why you do what you do, or what it is that you do, and you have to kind of explain it to them so they realize, oh, this is what I'm listening to, and this is the reason? Okay, good.
So do you think music is a source of power, of empowerment?
It can be, if it's used. But the question is, what does that empowerment bring you? What does it bring you to do? But
what has it brought you to do?
We got artists that now that are actually coming and doing progressive political music. So it's not all lost, It's just that the artists that are actually doing that work, sometimes you never hear them. Now you hear Bad Bunny. Which Bad Bunny is good, but I don't know what he's talking about. He speaks Spanish. I don't speak Spanish.
But you can't.
You can still feel it. You can feel the music.
Can't you feel it?
And it's good that he's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm elated that they're bringing something else besides country
Garbage.
and western and God.
I was very impressed that he chose to do, I think it was 30 performances in Puerto Rico, his native Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Because he felt like this was the music that people needed to hear, like you were saying.
Yeah, for sure. That's the music that people need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And just because he's speaking Spanish, so what? A lot of people speak Spanish just because we don't speak it here. Why shouldn't they get some play, And then you got people like Lamar Hendricks, who his whole album was political.
Right.
He did the Super Bowl.
So let's hear something from. I see you got a flute over there too. I didn't know you played the flute. Tell me about the flute.
This flute here.
And
I bought this flute. I was at a conference in San Diego, California, for the Congress of African People, and a brother was walking around with a bag full of these. This was in 1972, and I paid $5 for this flute. Yeah.
Let's hear how it sounds. Well, first, for you to tell us tell us a little bit about the song and who did the background and all of that.
All of this music that I've written, the backgrounds, all of it is garage band, except for a couple of pieces I've done where I played didgeridoo and played some other instruments. I play a bunch of other instruments that's not only garage band, and I didn't bring all that stuff with me because it's just too much on. So anyway, we'll do this. Oh, wait. Actually, I play flute on it, but actually, it's a violin piece.
Go ahead.
I'm going to play flute on it, too.
Violin. That looks a whole lot different from the violin I used to see.
I got about 4 or 5 violins.
How many instruments do you play?
I don't know. I'm still learning. I know I can play about 15. One day I'll try to figure out. Music is my essence. It started with a rhythm of the downstroke, the yin and yang of love, creation of heartbeat in the womb, first smack on the bottom, the dissonant melody of my first note, the song of my cry. Gospel music harmony was my ear training, bass line tattooed on my umbilical cord, wiggling my toes to the backbeat. Music lessons on my mother's knee. She was the Sunday school pianist. 7 was the magic number captured by the riddle of the fiddle. It was my first string thing. Music notation became a second language. In 6th grade, a flute joined the family, followed by a keyboard and a cello. High school brought my baritone horn to the marching band. Civil rights sit-ins and anti-war love-ins birthed the age of folk music. But freedom songs brought me a guitar, minted by Odetta, whom I later met, and Nina vicariously. Bob Dylan and John Lennon in rotation on my turntable. Doo-wop on the corner and basement quarter parties. Jazz came late at night caressing my eardrums. In defiance of my size, finally large enough to rock an upright bass, riding the A train to a night in Tunisia. Then came serious business, serious music for serious times, just 2 voices and a guitar, from Central Park to Madison Square Garden, London, Germany, and Paris. Our songs embraced the earth, kissed by New Age music, surrendering to the Yadaki's healing sound. Didgeridoo is a misnomer like jigaboo. African rhythms took me on the journey. Kungas, shekere, mini bata drum, Mali to Memphis, Benin to Brooklyn, deep South African banjo strum. My music teacher told me it's the music that keeps us young. Music is my essence.
Yes.
Well,
If anything sums it up, you also showed us that you're a poet, too. That was really good.
thank you.
I want to thank you for coming all the way over here from Harlem. This is my good friend from Richmond, Virginia, who now has traveled the world with his music. This is what we need to hear more of. Music that tells a story, music that shows that the essence of what you are about and helps other people understand you much better. That's why the music that we play brings such joy to folks all around the world. Thank you, Ngoma. You didn't tell us how you got that name. I summed up too fast. You got to tell me about the name.
Amiri Baraka gave me the name Ngoma. Okay. I was in Committee for a Unified New Orleans Congress of African People from 1971 to 1974, and Amiri gave me the name Ngoma.
What does it mean?
It means to drum or to dance or music, primarily. And then later on, much later on, I was initiated to a priest of Obatala, and I was given the name Ngoma Osayemi Fatumishe. But I don't usually use all of that because it confuses people. So, I mean, I know if you know, you know. So, you know, if you're with that culture, then I'll tell you that. But otherwise, you don't need to know unless you write me a check.
Music has taken you a long, long way.
Indeed.
And that's what we're talking about. So thank you for coming over.
Well, thank you for having me.
Always good to see you. Always good. So in the meantime, this is the end of our episode And I ask all of you to keep your eyes wide open and go do something political. Thank you. Until the next time. Everything's Political Podcast is sponsored by the Center for Education and Juvenile Justice with a grant from the Terrell Foundation. It is produced by ABF Creative with lead producer Shirley Rejoice. Our theme music is by Anthony Ant Jackson. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the Everything's Political Podcast on YouTube, press the red button, or on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time, and remember, stay political.